Hey, everybody. This is Josh.
And this is Shay, and welcome to our Creative Podcast. This week, we're super excited to have Stephanie Hasham with us. She is a designer, does absolutely amazing work.
Hi, everyone.
So we're so happy to have her here. We already kind of got started talking. So many interesting things we're talking about. So we'll go right ahead and get started. Right, Josh?
Oh, yeah. I'm so impressed with your work, Stephanie. I think it is something you don't see every day. They're one-of-a-kind pieces. You have a style to you that I don't think a lot of people see with the colors and textures that you use. And I think Shay and I both love the way that you have kind of updated the way that people carry purses and accessories. And I think that is just one of the best parts about your products. So we have lots of questions for you.
Yeah. So, Stephanie, what was it about fashion that drew you to it at such a young age? Because when we're young, we all kind of, I want to be a dancer. I want to be this. I want to be that. But you claimed it and you stuck with it.
I found an old kindergarten, report card, hidden in the back of the closet in my parents' house in Curacao. And my kindergarten teacher decided for me, she's like, I think this one's going to be an artist.
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure what I was doing in kindergarten, but I think it was a pretty clear sign because looking back at it as a teenager and understanding, how I was kind of like maneuvering through life, what I was drawn to and interested in. I can't say, it was per se always fashion because like on the island, it was I don't think that it was something that was very accessible to me as far as it being a profession until I decided, okay, well, I like the arts. I love people. I love to create my own stuff. My mother started showing me how to sew. So I would wear these very strange looking pants, that I created. And I was not ashamed. And it was like, maybe that is something that, is worth exploring, some more. It builds character because, other people don't often understand your out there idea or fashion sense. So, yeah, it's a challenge all the way around. Life is fashion. Fashion is politics. And I think it all kind of combines.
That is so true. So what made you decide to focus on handbags versus clothes or other things for, in the fashion space?
The funny thing about it is because I don't like to carry them.
Oh, that's funny. I don't either. That's very interesting.
It's such an interesting thing because I'm a very active person. I like to be able to I needed to find as a woman, you need to have places to put stuff. And like you I like fashion. I love accessories. However, I just didn't want to carry it all the time. So for me, I was like, how can I create something that is both just modern, sleek, that I can throw on and wear multiple ways and, move around. And it's so funny because I did this in 2014. It was the very first bag that I actually created.
Mhm.
Well, actually, it wasn't the first one. It was one of the first that I say I was able to construct using the skills that I had learned by going to the leather stores and meeting with different artisans that were showing me the ropes as far as like how to kind of construct a pouch or bag.
Right.
So yeah, I watched people. I watched different shows. I think I was watching something on TV and this woman was wearing, one of those like saddle bag type things, and I was like, actually, how do I do this? So as I started constructing the bag, I realized how is it that I can make it fit around all the different curves? And that is why I have that ring in the back. So as you kind of move through, no matter what shape you are and where it's actually lifted on your body, I started discovering different ways to kind of put it on. And that is actually why it's so central. And that's why that is my signature purse.
Wow, that's amazing. Because when I was looking at the bags, what I noticed, like on the models, the bags seem to like be a part of your body and almost like a part of your clothing. It's not a separate item, to your point, that you're carrying. It's like a part of you, which is really strange, but that's exactly what I felt. And I love that because I don't like to lug like you extra stuff. So the fact that it blends and it's like a part of your outfit.
Yes,
thing.
so excited that you see that.
Yeah.
Like, it really is kind of exciting to hear somebody say it that way. I'm sorry, I'm so excited. I
No,
don't
'cause
think
that's
anyone is
immediately what
like,
I saw.
no,
Yeah.
exactly what that is. Yeah, it's up, especially when you wear it right underneath your in your torso, or if you wear it, on your, just a little bit closer to you. For me, that was an important position for it to be in when I'm traveling. It's still cute, like especially the bags that I had that I did a collaboration with Kevin Bongang, different artists. It's it it's easy to access. I
Mhm.
can quickly turn it over to be in the bag. Like, I didn't feel like I was about to drop everything, and it's a very simple pouch, like passports.
I love it. That's my type of thing, because even when you go out places, you have to put your bag down, but you don't want to put it on the floor, because you know what they say about putting your bag on the floor, and then you have to
Yeah,
find little hooks to put your bag. So if it can just be a part of me and I can move it around,
yeah.
it's perfect.
Sometimes I never take it off, and it's so funny. It's so funny that you merged. That made me happy. Thank you.
That's remember, Josh, I was telling you that. I was like, Josh, this is what's amazing. It sits on you. It's a part of your outfit. It's a part of your dress. It's a part of you. And I love that.
I love that it has the versatility to wear in the front or in the
Yeah.
back, right? You can
Yeah.
put it wherever you want on that loop, right?
And as a fanny pack. So the point is, so you just unhook it and you can wear it as a fanny pack, and you can wear it as a long crossbody. So yeah, just the way that the strap is set up, it's that was the main intention for it. Yes.
Well, you need to patent that so
Yeah.
nobody else.
Yes, yeah, I actually did apply for a provisional patent for it. Yes.
Good. You need to protect that because I'm sure a simple thing takes a long time to discover and
Yes.
figure it out. It does. And simplicity to me is the best form of design. You
Yeah.
don't need all the bells and whistles, but it's beautiful. Like Shay was saying on the pictures of the models, it's stunning. And I love the, is it the clasp on the mask holder that you did? The two straps that go over the corner of the triangle?
Oh yeah, I do have that one. Yeah, there's two different. Yeah, they just it's a loop, right? So it kind of makes it easier for you to just pull it in. And sometimes your mask is larger or smaller, and because it's leather, it's able to kind of expand a little bit and fit. So the loop actually solved the problem. Instead of having like a clasp or a magnet, etc., I just did the loop, and I'm gonna experiment with that with the bigger bags as well. So you can just stuff it with whatever you need.
I'm so excited for the bigger bag. I'm so excited because I said to Josh, I want to ask her, will she have a bigger bag? And when you said that, made
Yeah,
me so happy.
it's an experiment still, because it's a very different dynamic, when you have it in that and in a different size.
Yeah.
It feels different. So
Well, I just love that construction, the simplicity of it. The a lot of, like you were saying, has like magnet or whatever, or a zipper or whatever, but you have this just little strap that goes around that secures it in place, which I'm surprised we don't see more of that in purses and handbags. But I think it's ingenious what you did, and I was super impressed with it. I was just like, yes, I just love that little detail made it for me, because I was like looking at it and I was like, okay, I like it. But when I saw that, I was like, yes, I love it now, because it's just that little extraness.
it's
Very natural.
Yeah, I think it's like that's part of the creative process, which I think is funny and also surprising. And you're like, aha, this is how we can solve this problem. It's kind of getting this moment, because I created one that had like a long strap and it's really fancy and it has like a magnet on it, but you won't use it. If it's not easy to access, it's pretty, but you won't use it. So I just wanted it to be something that you just like drag and you stick it, and can just keep it moving.
Yeah, there's a kind of natural feel about the process of how you close it. To Josh's point, it's very smart. It feels natural. Like when you put something away, you kind of fold it in and put it away. So having that in the bag is also really nice.
Okay, that's nice. Nice compliment.
So do you sketch out ideas for bags and then source material, or do you find a piece of material like a piece of leather and then be inspired by that, or like your concepts come about in different ways?
Yes and yes to all of that. Yes, I think that sometimes, it's about the utility, right? Like, I really want to be able to take my pens with me, and I want to, um, or put my makeup and like my wallet, and I don't want to carry something. It's kind of like the idea of like what is it I'm trying to solve for. And then there's the part of it that's like I really want to wear something pretty. Like, so when I put it down, um, I enjoy it. Like, I can match it to what it is that I'm wearing. Other people can enjoy it, like when you bring it to the table, and it's a reflection of you. I think this is something that I've been thinking about lately as well. Is like, why do we do things, right? In the morning, the basic things that we walk into is like you go to your closet or you go take a shower, you take in, and you have to pick out your clothes, right?
Yeah.
It's a very simple thing, but it is so many things at a time. That's the moment where you know what you have that's clean or dirty, or you know,
Oh,
you know
yeah,
th-
your
that's the
mood.
moment, yeah, your mood. You're like, I'm gonna go out into the world like this, or I'm never leaving the house. So these are such instinctual like decisions that we make, and I think that's what's beautiful about it as well. It's like, so what if I somebody doesn't doesn't feel like doing fashion today, but like when you do go out, when you do put your stuff on like a bird, like,
Yeah.
and display yourself out into the world, like you want to bring something nice. And I kept thinking like what that would be. So one of the first ones I did, actually, I built this one for my aunt, and she, oh wow, but like I was exploring the concept of like dichotomy of style. Like on one side, like we're this rigid person, and then the other side is like, pretty much who we are, and like some of it overlaps into society. So like that's kind of what I was thinking as I kind of sat there and like did these stripes. I was like, why do I have a dichotomy? So this is one of the things from my dichotomy collection, where I'm really exploring these two worlds. Like, so I'm actually gonna do one of these like for Christine, because I did it for a auction. But I would like to talk to the clients, so when they buy them as gifts, they tell me about the person. And sadly, I don't get to keep a lot of like the pieces that I have, because they are one of a kind. But this side is everything about that individual. So like, it doesn't have to be flowers. This one it's flowers, but it could be,
I love that.
So with that, you make all your purses for one person at a time.
Yes. So at first I was like, yeah, I want to make a whole bunch of purses and like, sell them out. However, the more I think about it, I actually enjoy doing this, and I do want to expand to work with other people, have like small manufacturing. That would be the dream. And also work with, the different wearable technology, etc. But I wanted to stick with slow fashion. I fell in love with that. And I think the pieces that that are created right now are things that you can keep for a very long time. I do care about the environment. I do care about not wasting materials. And there's a nice feeling of having a bespoke piece that is still relatively affordable, that you can walk with someone through to create, and it's something you can pass on.
Well, I'm just thinking for business wise, on the other side of coin, your prices are very affordable for one of a kind. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I thought that these were all productions of multiple purses. Like, this is one purse for that price. That is
Insane. Yes.
yes.
For the amount of time that I spend on it, I think for me it's more of like an introductory price. As I move forward to, as I move towards like creating more specific things. Like these bags, I was able to keep at that price because I've found a system in which I can, work them out and build them out really nice. But I mean, the quality could be so many things. It can expand into so many different just the way that like you can create them individually for people, that yeah, I will have to price it accordingly.
Yeah,
But
because I was just gonna, I'm just thinking out loud. I was just thinking you're gonna have to go up on pricing because like that stuff, I'm sure it takes a long time to do those purses. And when you see the quality, you'll see what we're talking about. Um
I tell people that it takes up to 2 weeks for each piece. So like they're not expecting to get their bag right away either. And throughout the process, like I'll actually put the videos back up, but like I did an example with a metalsmith that I worked with in Atlanta called Corina Sephora. She helped me build out the custom ring for a person who wanted like a custom black on black on black go bag, right? Which is the 5-way bag. And so I walked to her and I showed her the video of her bag being created from beginning to end. So all of those things are like, I think that's a special thing. It kind of puts value back on the stuff that we go in and purchase every day. That is a choice as well. So yeah, I don't remember the last handbag that I purchased. I do like specific, designers. I absolutely love fashion. It's just that I think that I'm really exploring like why, you would want to buy something. And I also question why somebody would want to buy something from me. And I'm hoping that it's the quality, it's the time, it's the the personal.
You is amazing on it. It's like I I worry that if you went into multiple manufacturing, you would lose that quality, and that's got to be a struggle. Because how can you make a living on something that you love without taking that love and making it a commodity? Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. And it's the intention, right? Like, so if my goal as a designer or is to be able to provide, let's say, like samples or a small batch manufacturing, then I would still have a sense of control of like the quality of the pieces that go out. So that is one of the things that I'm really working hard to pursue, because I would be able to work with different artisans, employ people who also love like working with their hands and doing what they do, and I'd be doing something that can combine all of my life, both the tech as well as the maybe I can have my super fancy textile 3D printer and do amazing things. No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
awesome.
I do have to say though, I am obsessed with your videos that you do on Instagram where you show the purse getting made. For some reason, I love watching people do projects, and I did not know all the aspects of creating a purse, all the tools that you use, the pounding out, the actual how physical it actually is.
Yes, it is.
Like you gotta have some strength to do the purses. Like they're not.
And my neighbors have a lot of patience because sometimes like it's loud, so some days I'm just like, oh doop, doop, I think that she's not home right now. But as I kind of created my own space, like this one has the space on the other side, so I'm actually able to make noise, and it doesn't help to know the people that live above you.
Yeah.
So how did you get into tech? Like, was it two separate things, or later on tech came into the picture, or it was always a part of it?
Oh, wow. This is this question takes me back to Curacao. I actually love tech. Me and my brother would, sit on that internet going, online in Curacao, the big old monitor, trying to figure out Photoshop and how to figure out how to build these websites, because we were determined to create something with this new medium, and we weren't sure. So what ended up happening is, when I came back from university and moved back to Curse, I started an online magazine, and that's actually what I started my first stint into coding, so front end development. So I was reverse engineering some HTML sites and like trying to figure out like how to put this picture here, and figure out how to make it something that I could monetize. So that led me into doing interviews with hundreds of people, artists, some of them who are just doing amazing right now. So I'm a little bit of an archivist, internet artist that is all about people and like how we work and like why we do things and how we create. So the Carib flavor was about United Creative Caribbean. And it was about linking up all the different islands and sharing stories from people that we interviewed on the different islands and from the different festivals that we went to connect the Caribbean and see how we can grow from there. So that's how I ended up in tech. I ended up just doing that and being curious about online business, being curious about where that was going. So I ended up coming and getting my master's in Atlanta after my parents had moved to Atlanta for a little bit, and doing my focus was on advertising, and but with a focus on interactive media and technology, and like how that, and my paper talked about the effects of the internet on civic engagement. So I don't think tech is separate from what anybody does. Like how that ended up at Microsoft is a journey, but it's because of the curiosity of how to connect with people.
That's interesting.
I know, random, right?
I'm processing. I'm just processing it all. Like I'm thinking the bags, I'm thinking tech.
Oh,
I'm thinking how far are you going to be going with the technology, including it in the bags? Oh wow.
okay. So here's an example. So I really love. Let me see what color is this right now. Let's see. So together with these sound, let me change the color. Let's say like it started off in this color, and then when I change it, so this is pink, this eventually would turn into this color.
Oh wow.
What's beautiful about that is, what do you do with that, right? So then here I am thinking, how do I include this into a bag? And many people will try to do the same type of solution many ways. A bag is not different from another bag, like over, in the world.
Right.
It carries stuff, it's the way that we present the bag, and like, the aesthetic that we choose, like, to adhere to, and like adding these technologies or into it is the same kind of solution I'm looking for. It's like would it be nice to wear a bag that you can adjust the colors to, like at night, like you can match exactly what you're wearing. So these are those type of things.
I would love that.
Yeah, so if you go, and these are things that are accessible to everyone, these wearable circuits on different websites you can go in and cut, but it's up to you to determine how you're going to go about and solve those types of problems, see how that could be something interesting and fun for somebody's accessories experience.
Wow, that's amazing. So you talked about, like, we read something on I think it was your page about mentors, and you talked about the importance of having a mentor. How important do you think it is, and why do you think it is, if you do think it's important for someone to have a mentor?
Okay, are you talking about the article from UPS?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that we have several types of mentors and all kinds of mentors that come in and out of your life during the year. But when it comes to small businesses and like being somebody that, and needing to have access to the tools that you need to kind of survive as a business, it's important. Like you're kind of navigating in the dark if you're not around the people that have experience, being a business or being a podcaster or being you. It's hard because you're just kind of going through the fog and just moving through the day and hoping for the best. Meanwhile, if you had a mentor, somebody can just say, hey, that you trust, that has done this, has experiences, or knows somebody that they can connect you with to get you back on the path towards making decisions that are beneficial for your business rather than emotional, for example. That is why it's important to have a mentor. And I think that in the article, what I was really trying to communicate, and I think she picked it up from the conversations we had really well, is that in the spaces we have as a Black woman, as a Black small business entrepreneur, oftentimes if you're not part of like a big organization, association, small business thing, or if you're a little isolated, you're not going to have the mentorship. You're stuck with the internet. You can go online and find groups, but that one-on-one connection, that trust that you build with someone, that as you move your business forward, that a lot of people probably have already in their families from generational wealth, or from, just being able to call uncle so and so, and they've already been doing this for years. And that doesn't often happen. And that's why these beautiful mentorship program, even including like Black Girls Code, and all of these programs are so important. I don't think that you have one mentor and you stick with them, but as you move and you continue to ask why, and are hungry and you want to discover how to do something better, you'll discover different kinds of mentors along the way, and those are very, very important. Like, and yeah, it could be your colleague, it could be somebody that is successful, somebody that, like, you could be my mentors right now, like, with the advice you're giving me, or like how, why are you, charging this, or, and I'm thinking like, what do you know that I don't know? Let's see. You see, so like, that's how I learn. Like, I always would love to stay in that space of learning and expanding. And that's why I think mentorship is important to accept into your life, and not feel afraid when you don't know for sure what to do next, to ask.
That's something to really take in and to think about.
Yeah, I didn't really think about it from that aspect where you're coming from. It's because like how you were saying, I would, like, if I had questions about business, I would call my uncle or my grandfather or whoever was on that business side of my family. And like, you don't realize that is somewhat of a privilege to have that in your life, where a lot of people don't have that. So thank you for putting it in those words, and giving me some education on that. I never thought about it that way, and it's really important to have that network too.
Yeah, it is.
Because if you don't have that network, then you're just going to be out there alone, making mistakes and holding on to mistakes that maybe you could let go of with a mentor.
Right. So, as a woman of color, have you found it difficult to start business, to connect, to find a mentor? Like, have you had any challenges being a woman of color?
Absolutely, I think so. But I don't put it in that bucket. I put it in the bucket of how am I going to get this done? So I don't kind of walk around with it on my shoulder thinking like, oh no, like, the reason why I'm not, as far as I want to be is because this. No, I think that is how I can answer that the best way possible. Yes, it's a challenge. Yes, I keep asking. Yes, I don't know everything, and I do wish I could just be like, yo, but as you get older and as you get more professional, you start noticing, that within, let's say, like my family also, you see, the people who have been doing like their creative businesses and they're expanding, and now I can, kind of reach out and, and kind of talk to them. But in this community, the challenge is a lot of times it's so competitive, and in a I think it's almost like planned way.
Yes.
That I'm glad that I'm in a creative aspect of it, not in like a finance or coordinator or event management, because I feel that, in the arts, you don't have to be first to always, you know what I mean? Like in creativity, like in handbags, like it's not something you have to be first in. It's the way that it's the product that speaks for, what it is. The difficulty is naturally, finding the people that will buy it. And I've been lucky with that, like, because I think people don't think often that it's actually within the network of the people that you've grown. They're the ones that actually invest in you the most to start.
Yeah.
So it's that first 200 to 1,000 people, that actually contribute to a very big chunk of your income when they believe in you and they continue to move forward. You don't think about it, but when you start looking at who's been really supporting you, they're very close to you.
Yeah, and we can relate to that too.
Yeah, because once you get past it, which is when you get surprised and you're like, oh, I don't know this person. People you don't know start ordering and like watching and listening to you. And that's that tipping point, that exciting part where you're like, wow, okay, thank y'all. like now how can we move from there? But don't forget to thank all the people who've been like telling me my bags are really pretty when they were really, really bad in the beginning. I thank them. I tell you, you know, boy, I made some ugly things and I wore that. And I look back at them, I have like an old box, and I was like, that is my friend. They really, really like me because they lied to me. They're like, that's great stuff. I pulled this thing out of the bag. I was like, oh, okay. That's my friend.
So how does being from Curacao influence your design or your voice or creativity, like your path and your mission, like for where you're going and what you're doing? And
That beautiful, interesting country on the planet is definitely home to no thinking without boundaries, right? Like you can have moments where you're like, well, what if the plane stopped riding in the island? Like, what would I do with myself? But I found ways. You know, there was a short stint where I did a Caribbean teen television program. I produced it with like some friends, and you know, somehow, you know, again through the network, my dad like was like, oh well, you know, they have this idea, and then slowly it picked up, and we were able to produce the thing with the local TV, you know, station. So I think it was boundaryless, fearlessness. I'm a, you know, I'm going to make something out of nothing all the time, you know. And I think that that's another part of like creativity that's interesting, because all of these expansive notions of like that make people even cross oceans to have a better life, um, have to do with, you know, the difficulties that you have to deal with. Like if you didn't have enough leather, you make a smaller piece, you know. Like if you wanted to expand into something big, you sell more of those to make more. So you learn to kind of deal with a lot of these restrictions, whether it's like the size of the country, the opportunities available, and push through it. And I think that Curacao is like that in language and culture and music. um, we weren't isolated from the world in language even. So majority of people, let's say it's a Dutch colony, but you speak Dutch, you speak Papiamento, which is the local language, and majority of people, they speak Spanish because of proximity to Venezuela, and English because my mother was actually from Kentucky, born in Kentucky in the United States, but ended up living there for many years. But you're not isolated from the world even in language and expression. So you can think that, you know, some people may never have left maybe the corner of the city that they've been, but my family and like the location and like how we ended up there has had a lot to do, I think, with not feeling restricted to anything.
You know, I wanted to ask you, for me, growing up, well, going to college with Shay, she had the most, the way that she used color coming from Africa. Has your color choices, like in your purses, I think are so influenced by the Caribbean.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Colors, and it's also these nice muted colors that are just like,
Yeah.
I love your color combination.
So this is from this is actually inspired by a Mandarin duck. I don't know if you've seen a Mandarin duck.
yeah.
So it's like these colors, like absolutely. I think that all the buildings. I'm sorry, my dog is making a little bit noise. Pixel, hold on, honey. Um, my all the buildings are different colors. You know, each house people choose the colors. It's bright yellow from the land houses from olden age. Like you know, it needs to be bright, needs to be reflective of the light, because otherwise the house would be hot. I can't imagine like having like lived in like brick houses with like low color. So the sun, the excuse me 1 second.
Oh, yeah, you're fine.
Pixel. 1 second. Just get this lighting up. Pixie, hold on. Come here.
How are you feeling?
Oh, I feel great. Please, once I get into it, I'm fine.
Yeah, me too.
Love She
Me too.
is so much smarter than I thought she was. Like, not thought that she was going to be, but just the way. Not that came out wrong.
Yeah.
She is so much more. There's so much more to her than I thought.
Oh yeah, but I agree. Like there's so many layers. It's amazing.
She's a freaking onion, and I want to get down to more layers with her, but I don't think we have.
No, we don't. That's how I was looking at it. But like, yeah, we're just saying there's so many layers to you, Stephanie. It's like we keep peeling and peeling. We ask a question and then we learn so much more, and it's like a wonderful surprise, like box. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, thank you. I guess. I mean, I just like sharing. I don't think I've often had opportunities that people were asking me, why why are you like this? And I do think that, from the colors you wear, the things you choose, it's both. Like, I mean, I also went to school in the Netherlands, like wherever you set up as a kid, like your fashion, your sensibility, your ability to, kind of walk through the world is really affected by those years, I think.
That's true.
So, is it hard being? Oh, sorry, Shay.
No, go ahead.
So you live in Seattle now. I mean, Seattle. I love Seattle, but that is completely different than Atlanta. Completely different. Like, it's very. I don't know how to say this in the nicest way, but I love Seattle. I go there, but I'm from Detroit, so I'm used to gloomy and I'm used to snow. I'm used to not seeing the sun for 2 months, So is that a hard transition for you now, being in Seattle?
Yeah. It's interestingly enough, I think Seattle is absolutely gorgeous. Like,
yes.
I think they kept it a secret from people for a reason. Like, they're like, don't come here, it's beautiful. And I was absolutely surprised, like when I came in, I needed to be close to the water. So I enjoyed that. You have a little bit of all of that, the green, the mountains, the water, the bays over here, and like the sound. So I was really happy when I saw that. But yeah, the first year or so, like as you kind of go deal with the reality of the grayness and the fogginess and the length of that period before spring and summer hits again is definitely hard. And I think it does affect the people around you, because I mean, no matter where you are, like, it all, having a diverse group of people around you, making friends in a new place, these are challenges that, like, as a person, you travel to places, and you stay there temporarily, you can hit it off and be like, yeah, but when it comes to living in a new space where people are very withdrawn, or not as outward, extroverted maybe as you would in a warmer place. I don't know if that has anything to do with that. It is hard because I'm very much like a people person. I love to talk and just
yeah.
No, get energy from it. Yeah.
I will tell you a secret though. The winters are great for creating. I don't know what it is about the gloomy weather, but I can create so much more when it's not a good day outside, because I want to be outside instead of inside. So that's a one trick that we always did, is we always created a lot more in the wintertime. But yeah, it's got to be a hard transition for you, on the sense that being an outgoing person, Seattle is very much books, keep to yourself, kind of quiet. You are very much, how do I say this?
Outgoing, kind
yes,
of. Yeah.
An anomaly out there, because you don't see a lot of people like you in Seattle.
And it's been surprising because, like, I moved into this really nice complex, and I mean, I think like we've somehow recruited me, and my sister actually moved over here as well, and it's been like the best group ever. You know what I mean? Like, and once people get used to it not being like, overbearing, it's more like, hey, neighbor, and I think those things are important. And as you have built those relationships with the people that live around you, and you realize that you can become friends with them, that's when I started feeling more at home in Seattle, or like, and even here in Kirkland, like, and a little bit later, like when people realize, oh, she's pretty consistently this way. Okay. Yeah. So we're gonna have to deal with that, or will she calm down? I'm like, no, I'm not calming down, but okay, we all right. Like, so that's the difference, right? It's like consistency. Like she's consistently like this. I hope, some days I'm happy, other days I'm not sad, but I'm pretty intense, like when you need to be compared. You know what I'm saying? Like, so as long as that's there, I think you can build a relationship with your environment, with the people around you, and build trust. And now we have like a little community, and
so that leads me to my question. You're so beautiful and unique and inspiring in just your energy and the way you view things. How do you maintain not even only your uniqueness, who you are, the essence of who you are? Because there's so much influence of how you should look, how you should be, to conform, and you seem so clear, and you manage to seem to stay in your space of the essence of who you are, regardless of all this noise in the world.
Oh, wow. It's a good question. I think it's not easy, right? I don't think it's easy for anybody. However, it is easy because I will be very unhappy. I have learned through experience, if I don't walk in my purpose, in my essence, in my reason for being here, that is not in my hands sometimes, right? Like, how do you wake up in the morning? I'm like, okay, here we are again. What are we going to do? But I had nothing to do with that. That's nature. That's me, waking up and walking into the world as I am. I think that came from nurture a little bit. I think my mom is a little bit rebellious, like I think growing up, letting me wear what I want, getting teased, getting misunderstood, like not fitting in. And all of those things take you through a journey. And with a good, relatively, also consistent like support system, whether it's not necessarily one person or just your family, like, but because we may have had a similar nurturing, we were able to understand that pain in each other. And like, not to say that people don't try to shift their pain into assimilation or just acting like everybody else and feeling better there in numbers. I think that having to battle through that very real pain that comes with, not, just not quite fitting in anywhere, and also like what happens when you travel and like being perfectly fine everywhere.
Yeah.
It's two different. It's such a balancing act that I somehow have found safety there. Mm-hmm. And I think it's safe because I can sleep at night when I'm being myself. When I tell somebody that I don't want to do something, like, I'm going to have anxiety about it. You know what I mean? Like, if I stay in situations that are unhealthy for me, I'm not going to be happy if I'm not able to communicate freely in the company that I am. Those people are not for me.
That's powerful.
So it moves you through life in a different way. And I think it has helped me become fearless in settings that oftentimes seem to bring terror.
That's deep. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it does.
So funny. I gotta say, when you said that you felt like you didn't belong anywhere, when I look at you, I feel like you belong everywhere.
Right.
Like, I feel like you walk down with the confidence of 1,000 people. Mm. But it's like, and it's just so funny, like, you never know what anybody else is going through, because I would have never guessed those words when they come out of your mouth. Never.
Yeah, no, it's pain.
You felt that way.
It's loss. It's all the things that, I think that you either have to sit with or yourself will perish.
Mm. But I feel like I don't know, that's just my perception. You found your place in the world of who you are. I know you're on a journey still, but I get this sense of you, this energy that through everything you've been through, it's like, this is who I am. you've created you know who you are as a person and how you fit in as an individual in this space. And yeah.
It's a resignation. Surrender. And I said that the other day. I think it's like, well, here you are, stuff. Like, what are we gonna do with this? Nothing. Okay, but I find joy in surprising myself and stuff, and I find joy in delivering things that you can enjoy. um I'm just as neurotic as the next person. I have the same insecurities as everybody else.
Right.
I'm finding it very nice that this is something you see from me, like, and I'm thinking about that, like, what is it that I just did? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's a very interesting dynamic because I'm sitting here and talking to you, and these are very revealing questions, and I think also very I don't know. I'm having a hard time with describing like why this is such an interesting and maybe even pivotal moment for me to recognize, like, that's what I'm bringing to you, and that makes me happy, and it also makes me introspective.
It does, because I think we spend a lot of time walking the path, right? And we don't do check-ins. So we're in our heads, we see ourselves a certain way, and we're on our path to do whatever it is we're trying to do. And then someone tells you that this is how you look to me, this is how I see you. And it's like, I've been so busy going somewhere that I didn't even get to see where I am at this point. And it's interesting to hear how someone else sees me. Maybe it's a point that you wanted to be at that you didn't even realize you got to,
right.
in your journey. Yeah. So
yeah, that's very well put. Exactly. It's kind of like you have moments where you end up here. Who knew? Like, I ended up being really great friends with Christina. Christina hooked me up with Josh. Josh was like, okay, and I was like, this is a vibe. Like, I'm cool because it went so organically, like, and it feels good all the way around. So I appreciate that moment for a second. So you kind of shocked me a little bit. So I'm like, oh, okay, like, that's how I'm showing up. Thank you.
well, so quick question. We saw Strange Bird. What is Strange Bird? I like that. We really liked that name. How did that come about?
I feel that that is like my spirit animal. She is the quirky side of me that is not afraid of anything, and can show up just exactly the way she was intended to be. So Strange Bird, I find so much inspiration in different kinds of birds and totems, and at what points they've given me strength throughout my journey. And I know that might be a little bit wild and out there, but
no, not to Josh. His background is Native American, so he talks to me about spirit animals and all that stuff. And being from Zimbabwe, I have a totem. It's the fish eagle, so it's not wild. Yeah, it's not wild and strange to us at all.
Okay, good. Yeah, so those things are very important to me, and it also reminds me of where I came from, and when I think of the things that surrounded me and the energies, and like where I was at, like as a kid playing in the trees. And Strange Bird is definitely resonated with my spirit, resonated with how I approach the word, how sometimes people would be okay with like othering me. I was like, but it was exactly what it's exactly what it is. Strange Bird. That's it. And that's me. My alter, my inner spirit being that's just coming out.
It's beautiful.
And I'm doing it with a collection, which I'm really excited about too, which is I'm not sure if I show you that. So this is part of it. So this is like an older piece like that I just decided to go back to, and I just created 2 more to put into a boutique here in Seattle if she'll have them. And but yeah, it's exploring all these different birds that look very unusual and incorporating them into the leather finishes and the way that you wear them. So this is actually also part of the strange bird, the
Love it.
this piece. So, just exploring airiness, lightness, construction, and the birds that kind of.
You should put no birds were harmed in making this.
Oh no, absolutely not. Oh my God. It's all paint, no
Yeah.
birds harmed.
So, okay, what advice would you have for other people who are creators on the journey, and also having a full-time job? Because there are a lot of people who create, right, and they have full-time jobs, and finding the time, because what you're doing is a lot of work, and finding that balance between your passion or what you want to create and then having a full-time job is really not easy. So through your journey and your experiences, is there any advice you can give creators about that balance, or just in general?
Yeah, I think it's not focusing on the outcome as much as, focusing on the process, depending on what you're doing, like if you're pouring candles or you're making earrings or doing stamping or, stuff like that. I think that it's less a focus on like what the outcome is, but a focus on, doing what you're doing well. And like, it actually becomes more of a labor of love rather than like a race against time, like and I think that has given me the space to kind of find time to create no matter what. There's days, of course, I'm like, I don't feel like it, you know what I mean, but you have to kind of push through that feeling of fear, because like that's what I was talking about the other day. It was a very simple post. I put it like, what is going to motivate me today? And it's joy, right? At the end of getting through processes that you don't want to get through, sitting with the moment to moment of creating something. Like some parts of the process I don't like as much, like, you know, every part of it has a thing that you're like, oh God,
Yeah.
gotta do it. And then you can either drop it at that moment because your feeling is like, well, I guess I always do this anyway. And you can go into self-sabotage. But the muscle you're building is, number one, is to start, always start. It is the hardest part.
Mm.
The hardest, that is like my biggest inner battle daily. Like I don't think that ever stops.
Right.
That's
No, it's so funny that you said that. It's serendipitous. One, like, just to start, you're right. It is actually just the starting process.
Mhm.
Like, that's all it is actually doing it. You can talk all day long. I will never forget. A friend of mine told me, he goes, Josh, you have amazing ideas, but I don't want to hear about them anymore. Do it. Like, that's the advice that I needed. Like, you don't, like, you could talk all day long until you're blue in the face, but you just need to do it. I just had to put that in there.
that's so real. That is the realest thing ever. It's like you have these ideas, you want to put them, and you're so used to disappointing yourself. Lie to yourself so well. Like, and I mean, every self-help book in the planet can say, like, we come up with the biggest excuses that we can possibly come up with on the planet. I think like we're the only animal that sits there and talks to itself, right? Like, hey, Steph, I don't think that you need to do this right now. Like, I'm like, I don't know. I think I should. If I don't do this, well, if you don't do it anyways, it's not like, you won't be fine in like a week. You'll still survive,
Yeah.
you just didn't do it.
Yeah.
And that is the most disappointing space that you can end up in the loop of that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like, and those are the moments where I've been like the most like disappointed in myself, where you say something, you're like, oh, this is a grandiose idea. You get into the space, and you're like, oh, I'm daunted. So your reflex is to be like, I just need to eat, or I need a snack, or I need to go. And the part that nobody likes to talk about, like as far as creativity, is the what is the word for that? It's not dedication. It is
Sacrifice?
no, not sacrifice. It's not responsibility. What is the word for that? It's
But the
called,
tenacity that you have to keep going through it even when you don't feel like it, or
no, it's not tenacity. It's darn it. Why am I having a brain like
it happens.
it's not really, it's not this. It's kind of like when you practice your instrument every day, right? Like
Oh,
Oh yeah.
the monotony of it.
no,
Repetition.
no. Dang it, there's a word for what I'm saying right now. It is not, yeah, it's kind of like having,
The practice?
no. Why am I having a moment about this? I need to
That
find,
was gonna bother you. Yep, it's gonna bother
oh my God. The word is, it's not dedication. It's kind of like, dang it. Oh man, I cannot even believe this right now. Either way,
you. Yeah.
you need to practice that all the time. Like, I think that, like, being able to kind of give yourself a break when you have to is great. But like, my advice is, what Josh was saying and like what you're saying is like that starting point.
Mhm.
And then you have to just keep starting over and over and over again. Like every moment is starting again,
Right.
and not like when I use words, also be mindful of the words you're using. I don't call it work. I have lots to do. I'm working to finish this thing, but to call it work on top of work,
Mm.
exhausting. I think that word is like so outdated. Like we just need to like throw it out.
Yeah, I
Just
agree.
pay me, okay, for doing this thing, and then we keep it moving. I feel differently about it. It frees my environment from like that idea.
It's funny you say that because the first graphic design job I got, my boss, she was from Colombia, and she worked a lot. It was a small graphic design studio. It was her and three of us. And she said she doesn't keep a watch. She doesn't look at time. She stops when she's tired. She doesn't operate on this whole time concept. Oh, it's 9 o'clock. I have to stop working now. She says she just works and does stuff till her body tells her that, hey, you know what? Go take a break. So it's interesting your perspective on the whole work concept because it reminded me of her and how she viewed time. That we shouldn't like conform to this idea of these things. You can change how you look at
Oh, absolutely. And I think, and especially in tech, like since I've often worked like in the more innovation arm, like, in helping people get through the discomfort of like leaving an old idea behind, like it's an interesting way of looking at it, like you don't come across it as a problem, you look at it opportunity. This is not an issue that you have to solve within yourself. This is a moment for you to start doing something differently for yourself.
like
And the way that you approach the problems, like, just coming in, as I grown to know myself more, as I understand what motivates me more, I realize how much my language has had to change.
That's powerful. That's very powerful. So, I mean, Josh, we could obviously talk to Stephanie forever. We would like to know, we ask all our guests this, what does being a creator or creator mean to you?
It's life. It's life.
It is.
Yes.
We agree.
Living. And I don't think that we can not be creators in this life, no matter what we do. So acknowledging it and speaking power into, the life that you are, a creation in and of itself. That's what I think that we're here to do.